Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
Arts in Depth, a 1/2-hour televised program presented to you by the Cultural Council of Indian River County. I am Barbara Hoffman, the Executive Director of the Cultural Council and your host for Arts in Depth. Thank you so much for watching. Historic downtown Vero Beach at one time was the true center of Vero Beach with many lovely buildings and loads of activities. Today, historic downtown, through the efforts of many, is again becoming the active center of our community. Through preservation, new restaurants, galleries, and other businesses, downtown is becoming alive with arts, culinary delights, and entertainment. The Heritage Center, through it all, has played an active role. My guest today is Suzy Feeney, who is the Executive Director of Vero Heritage, Inc. Welcome, Suzy.
Thank you, Barbara.
Vero Heritage is a nonprofit organization responsible for the operation of the Heritage Center. Suzy, please tell us about the history of the Heritage Center and what its mission is today.
Thank you. The Heritage Center was built in 1935. It was part of a WPA project. It was helping people get jobs, being able to be employed, and it was created. The building was created to become a community center for the city. Back in 1941, as the war was happening, the government took it back and turned it into a naval base between 1941 and 45. During that time, the naval officers were housed and stored there. And I think it was in 1943 that the museum was added. That was actually a separate component, and that was where the naval officers slept. I am blessed in that my staff always teases me that my office actually used to be the men's room. So we use every component with it. So we're blessed to have that building right now.
Well, it is a beautiful building. Tell us now from then, or tell us when from the 1940s through today, what changes have taken place and what exciting new things have happened to that building.
Once the war was over, the city took it back, and it was run as a community center where I was surprised to hear that it was such a focal point of some of the things that we're doing that people used to drive from Miami to come up for boxing matches.
Really?
I know, that's what my reaction was.
Okay.
People thought they'd go to Miami, but they were coming to see us. So wonderful things have gone on with being able to be there. And it was in 1990 that the building was condemned and the city wanted to tear it down. At that point, some members of the Historical Society broke off and formed Vero Heritage to be able to preserve that special building that we have there.
Well, they have certainly done a beautiful job because that building it's just such a landmark. It's just so beautiful, and even though your office is in the old restaurant, I mean, it makes it a very distinguished story. So that's great.
It does.
So we're going to learn more about the Heritage Center from Suzy when we come back after this short break.
Now that health reform is law, you cannot be denied health insurance coverage, but you can pay too much.
As a single mom, I was convinced that we could not afford health insurance until I spoke to the people from ICANN, who told me that I qualified for a special enrollment and a subsidized rate. Now I get so much more for so much less.
Call now and get the ICANN mobile app free. So don't wait another minute. Call ICANN, get covered, save money.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
And I'm back with Suzy Feeney, the Executive Director of Vero Heritage, who runs the Heritage Center. The Heritage Center is a popular venue for many programs and events today. What is it about the Heritage Center that makes it such a popular venue?
Well, you know, it was interesting when we were talking before, Barbara, we were talking about how in 1991 the Vero Heritage took over the building, and it was its own nonprofit that was created to not just restore that building, but to be able to preserve the history and the importance of sharing history that way. Since 1991, it has been used as a wonderful venue for being able to have weddings, high school reunions, civic organizations meet in there daily. And when I stepped in, what I realized was we needed to step up our game. We needed to be able to make it more pertinent to today. And so where we now have, we could probably do 2 weddings every Saturday if we needed to, because it is a wonderful place to have a wedding. It's got a historic nature to it. The old beams that we have, along with, if you ever are in there and you take a look at our ceiling, you'll see that it's black and rippled in many areas, because in 1941 there was a fire in there after a USO dance. And so the history that is part of what that building is has taken into a wonderful form with all of the weddings that happen there, and people like to be able to share in that.
Well, I know the Cultural Council uses it frequently for its public meetings, when we want the public to come to hear, to learn about things that are happening in our community. But you, in the last year, have also added a lot of technology to the benefits of the Heritage Center. Would you talk about the new technologies that you brought in?
I'd love to. As I mentioned before, it's a fabulous building, but how do we take these old buildings and not make them monuments, but to make them living examples of how we should continue to use them? And I love the example you use of being able to have many of the Cultural Council's functions in there, because part of what happens in our community is it's not just having an event, it's where we go to talk, it's where we go to have civil discourse. And so in doing so, we needed to be able to step up our game. And so what we have done is we have invested in technology inside and outside. So inside, we now have state-of-the-art technology with total restaurant automation. We are the equivalent, if not, I say a little bit better than what the Richardson Center has. So we now have a downtown venue where we have a 16-foot automated screen that if you came in and you wanted to show me pictures of your grandkids or anything else from your phone, we could hook that right in, you'd be able to bring down the screen on your phone, be able to do that, have that available, plus the cool toys we have outside.
And talk about those.
This is one that is amazing. I still think it's one of the best kept secrets we have here. But we have a jumbo screen that we have that's a 25-foot inflatable screen that we set up outside in our patio area that looks out on Pocahontas Park and on the green. And the second and third Fridays of the month during season, we have been showing free movies for the families, for people to come down. So we had E.T., and we're finishing up with Minions next week.
Well, that's pretty exciting. That technology is terrific. You can bring your laptop in, and all of a sudden, without a lot of wires or anything,
None.
It goes right up on the screen.
Right.
So we're going to talk more about the kinds of events, though, that happen at the Vero Heritage Center when we return.
Stop dirty, unread newsprint clogging our landfills with waste. Go green. Save a tree. Watch Buzz TV.
Listen up, America. This is an important medical alert for anyone suffering from back or knee pain. If you or a loved one suffers from back or knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, you can qualify for a pain-relieving back or knee brace at little or no cost to you. Stop living in pain because the brace you need is too costly. Call Listen Up America right now for more details. The call is free and there's no obligation.
Please call 800-299-6799.
And again, I'm with Suzy Feeney, the Executive Director of Vero Heritage. There is such a variety of programs and activities that take place in that Heritage Center. Would you tell us about some of those?
I would love to tell you about some of those programs, but first, one of the important things I think people need to know is that as much as the Heritage Center is this lovely old building that's there, when I stepped into this position a year ago, or almost a year ago, the part that absolutely captivated me wasn't that we had a nice building that we could put the technology in. I saw where heritage was as part of a campus. Whether we have the old building across the street that Mr. Brackett restored with the courthouse, or whether we have the community center, to me, one of the largest things that has been the real anchor downtown for decades before I got here was the work that you've done, and being able to have the Cultural Council and to be able to have the arts become such a thriving thing downtown. And so when I came in, I only saw that I was a component to be able to help enrich the things that you were doing. And that's why I think one of the neatest events that we've been able to be part of was New Year's Eve. And that was the first time that Barbara and I really got a chance to collaborate with throwing our first downtown New Year's Eve party. And that was done in conjunction with the Cultural Council, Heritage, because we've got toys, and the
Main Street
downtown Main Street.
And
they had the volunteers. So we had people, we had talent, and we had gadgets. And so
it was really fun. Do you have any special stories you might like to share about a special wedding that took place, or something?
Oh, is she dropping a big hint or what? The fun thing about New Year's Eve is after actually Larry Reisman of the paper sort of dropped the hint that, geez, it'd be cool if you did something like that. The fascinating thing was I couldn't even use our building because it was rented out for a Gonzalez, or Linda Schlitz, one of the twins, was getting married in there. So we couldn't even use our building. And so we set up our big screen outside. We simulcast New Year's Eve from Times Square, and we're able to do that. Barbara helped supply a lot of the wonderful talent we had. We had created a ball drop, and for the first time ever, we had fireworks downtown that were
wonderful,
really good. Yeah.
Yes, they were wonderful fireworks.
Yeah, it was a special night, and looking forward to what can be done with collaborating and highlighting the gifts that you have already created here, and how important the arts is for us.
Thank you, thank you. You've also had some beautiful weddings, and I've seen some of the photos of how people have decorated the building. Oh, tell us about some of the fancy decorations they do. And
it is perfect timing, because this past weekend we just had our bridal expo, where we actually do use the whole downtown as our campus. So we have used the community center across the street, and then we have people that with our beams, they come in and tent it or drape it. And then they have wonderful chandeliers that are suspended and hanging there. And one of the things that has inspired us is we now are looking to be able to change some of the lighting that we have to be able to make it less look like it came out of an airport runway, to now being able to have more subdued LED writings and chandeliers going in there. So it should be even more spectacular in the future.
Well, it's just such a beautiful place, and you are so busy. I mean, you are so busy, so many nights of the week, so many days of the week, that we're lucky to get in for some of our public meetings, and we'll come right back after a short break.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com. The fun is happening at Vero Social Club on North US 1, where friends meet for bingo every Tuesday and Thursday. Doors open at 10 with luncheon served, and the games begin at noon. Then Vero Social Club opens up the dance floor Thursday nights for social dancing, and weekends Vero Social Club heats up. Check the website for Latin night special events, and each Sunday dance to hip-hop all night long. Go to verosocialclub.com. Vero's #1 party destination, Vero Social Club, 7500 North US 1. During the course of the past 100 years, advancements in technology have dramatically changed forever the manner in which people worldwide interact and now connect and communicate with one another. Welcome, Buzz TV.
In the late 1800s, early Florida settlers began the commercial cultivation of citrus, and an industry was born. The Indian River Citrus Museum in the Heritage Center captures how citrus seeds made their way to Florida. What is the story that the museum tells us?
You know, we have a little gem there in our citrus museum and our little gift shop. I'm excited because people have known about it. Citrus has a very strong history here in this county, and that we now have the ability to share that a little bit more. So as people now come in here and take a look at the fact that citrus was what helped found this community, this county was based on that, we are happy to be more of a resource in sharing that history, but also some of the things that are coming to us more frequently now is people come in and say, you know, this blight that they have with the greening and the canker, can you help tell us a little bit more about that? So we get calls from all over the world, which is surprising, to ask us about that. So we are putting together a new program right now where we're going to be creating videos to be able to explain some more of those things, so that when people come in and take a look at all the lovely displays we have, we now will be backing it up with so many of the videos that are hidden gems that are out there right now, whether we have many people in our community that were are part of the Citrus Hall of Fame. There's videos there. We now can curate them and to be able to share them there, the same way as people want to be able to know about what it's like to be able to go through a packing house, because there's not that many of them left any longer, but it's not like you can show up out there and get a tour of it. There's a wonderful 7-minute video that we have from YouTube of what it's like to go through a packing house. So there's what was a relatively small thing. It's now we are really growing in being able to offer so much more. So we have doubled the amount of people coming through our museum. We've doubled our donations coming through, and we've doubled the amount of time that people are spending there because we can offer them so much more.
Those are terrific, terrific numbers. What are some of the special things that have been preserved and that are in the museum and that help tell that story?
We have had a lot of people make donations over the decades. This year it's actually going to be 25 years since Vero Heritage was formed to be able to help stabilize and and continue the work being done there in the Heritage Center. People have been very generous in being able to donate things. We have a lot of things. We have a very good collection of the citrus labels. There is quite a...
and that's artwork in itself.
That's artwork in itself, exactly. And there's quite a collection of them that we have, and we have them for sale. So that and anything having to do with the actual packing, picking. We have got the rakes. We've got some of the original ladders that they used for the trees and crawling up there and pulling them down. So yes, I hope people will stop by and take a look at what we have to offer there.
And you also have one special evening in honor of the pioneer families.
Yeah, March 14th, we have got the Pioneer family coming up. And that Pioneer family is one of the original settlers or pioneers that helped settle that. This year, it's going to be the Howard family. People always joke that the Schlitt family is so large they could fill up. I do think the Howards rivaled them in that. So.
Okay, we're going to be back after a short break.
Join us for an adventure weekdays at 4:30 and 8:30 on Buzz TV Network.
If you or someone you love is suffering from addiction to drugs or alcohol, National Rehab Recovery has an important message for you. Each year, we lose hundreds of thousands of our family members and loved ones to drug and alcohol-induced causes. If you have insurance or the ability to pay for 30 days of treatment, National Rehab Recovery can change your life. Medicare and Medicaid are not accepted at this time. The call and confidential consultation is free.
1-800-577-5446.
Plant your business in the Buzz TV ID Garden and watch your buzziness grow. Make a 15-second business video ID. Plant your video ID in Buzz TV programs. Then spread your video ID on social media and watch your buzziness grow on Buzz TV. Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
And Suzy, with the Executive Director with the Heritage Center. The Heritage Center also hosts a Citrus Museum gift shop. Give us a sample of what can be found in that gift shop.
We have anything and everything citrus. I tell you, it is amazing. There is a cult following for being able to have citrus sprays, not the floral, but just the nice citrus. We have people that call us that tell us that they can't order these lovely, lemon or even grapefruit scents, and that they order them by the dozen at the time, and we help ship them up to Connecticut with it that way. We have teas that are infused with citrus flavors. We have anything chocolate that has citrus with it. So those sell rapidly.
Wow. How do you work near a gift shop that has chocolate and all this good stuff?
We reorder often with that.
The Heritage Center is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and requires you to be extremely diligent in keeping the facility in good condition.
Right.
How can our viewers help the Heritage Center?
I was very blessed that when I stepped in, all of the previous executive directors had really had a strong preservation background in being able to help stabilize the building and bring it to where it is. During that time, there were a lot of people that were very interested in the history, people who had grown up having gymnastic classes in the building. And so we have a very wonderful group of members right now, but now we are reaching out to younger ones and being able to see how we are now making events happening there that are community ones all over again, or the community discourse, such as when the Art Village, when people would come there and throw ideas around and say, what would we like to see happening in our community? So at this point, on April 11th, we are going to be having an open house from 4:30 to 6:30 for It's Old Friends Meet New Friends. And we want our old members to come back, see what all of the new things that have gone on there within the last year, and we want to be able to reach out to the community for them to step in. So
how nice. So how can our viewers become a member?
Anytime that they would like to stop by, or they can go online on our website. We have an opportunity to fill out and become a member for anywhere from $25 on up. But we are also looking strongly for volunteers, people who would like to be able to maybe volunteer a day a week or a couple of hours a day in our Citrus Museum that know the history better than such as myself, who moved here from Massachusetts. So the more that we can have people come back and share their stories, the richer we become in being able to document that history and to share it.
Okay, so our viewers can help by becoming members.
Right.
And they can also help by volunteering.
And they can come support any of the functions that we've got coming up, such as the movies that we'll be finishing up. Then we have some wonderful new ones that are in the works right now, or our Bridal, our Pioneer, or our New Year's Eve. So,
well, it sounds like there's lots and lots of opportunities for volunteerism.
Right, absolutely.
Well, you've done such a great job with it, and the maintenance and the keeping the facility in such good condition is just so critical to everything that you've done. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Well, we're going to wrap up our conversation in the next segment after this short break.
Buzz TV Network is now the fastest growing new media outlet in Florida. Watch buzztvnetwork.com.
Have you or a loved one been prescribed the blood thinner medication Xarelto? Xarelto has been linked to serious injuries, including internal bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system, cerebral hemorrhage, and even death. At the law offices of Jacoby & Myers, we've been bringing compassion and experience to our clients for over 40 years. Jacoby & Myers is now taking claims from those injured as a result of taking Xarelto. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-536-6093.
And again, Suzy Feeney, Executive Director of Vero Heritage. The Heritage Center is the center of downtown Vero Beach. Would you tell us a bit about you and your interest in Vero Heritage.
Well, I moved here probably almost 5 years ago from Cape Cod, from Massachusetts. And it took me a couple of years of being able to just get stabilized down here. But when I was offered the opportunity to come to the Heritage Center, the part that excited me the most was I had the opportunity to, even though I was a new kid on the block, to be able to help contribute and give back to an amazing community. Some of the spirit of collaboration that's been done here, the work that the Cultural Council has done in being able to promote the beauty that's here, whether it's the environmental groups, whether it's the arts. I wanted to be able to help contribute and help those groups collaborate. And I think that what Heritage has done with being able to step up their game, with being able to have the technology there, we give you all the tools to be able to communicate your missions even better. And I think that that's part of what I can't be part of the history, but I can be part of making the memories that are in the future. And so much of that is being the champion for the groups that are here already, and to be able to offer the heritage to be able to do that, because the heritage is not about a building. It's about what happens in the building. What happens with the community. It's building that community DNA within ourselves, that when those things happen, that's where we learn how to be able to become less individually focused. But this is about the community. And when we don't just offer the events that say, oh, we were all together that one night and watched E.T., this new generation, that the first night that we watched the movie, and they could feel the ground shaking. That was an important moment that child and that family will never forget. The same things that the Cultural Council and others are doing with the conversations that we have in there, that's where we really learn to work together as a community. And I think that's one of the biggest goals that I have, is to help promote and be the champion. I might be a little bit of a catalyst, or the building might be the catalyst, but it's being the champions of everybody else that's here, which is the real goal that I see for Heritage.
That's very, very admirable and important to our community, and we thank you for that. What do you see as some of the challenges, though?
It's funny. I don't see challenges as much as I see opportunities, And to me, the opportunities are the same way as Cultural Council has really availed themselves of the place. To me, the opportunities are what other groups are we going to be able to introduce, and to show how we can collaborate together downtown, how we can take that to the next level, and to be able to offer more things, whether it's TED Talks or exciting places. There's a wonderful phrase I learned the other day that says, new ideas require old buildings. And I think that's so
lovely.
Powerful of what we're trying to do downtown.
Well, thank you, Suzy Feeney, Executive Director of Vero Heritage, for talking with us today and sharing such wonderful, wonderful thoughts and visions. And thank you, viewers, for watching Arts in Depth, presented by the Cultural Council of Indian River County.
Thank you, Barbara. You make it easy.
Thank you.
Arts in Depth is brought to you in part by Riverside Theater, Vero's professional theater at Riverside Park. Call the box office at 772-231-6990 or visit riversidetheater.com.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to their heart or lungs. Did your IVC filter move, break, or cause organ damage? The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or even death. Call Jacoby and Myers today. You may be entitled to compensation. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-378-0160.